What's going on, everyone? It's your favorite host and jealous hater Apoc, and welcome back to the channel. So for clarification, this is the third part to the first episode of Keren and Qua's podcast called BAYTS. And the premise of the episode is based around them talking about achieving their goals or whatever, and how Keren got her $200,000 sports car. Which it wasn't even really about that, because if you actually go through the whole video, you'll come to find out that the episode is full of just a bunch of dribble and word salad.
And
arguments, yeah. Which in every episode they have one argument. Maybe they'll have one where there's not.
Or they're bickering.
They're either bickering or they're fighting. And there's times where they actually cut themselves off. You can tell. They did in this one, actually.
We've listened to these podcasts. And we've had a lot to say about pretty much every single one of them. I would say probably about like 98% of them.
I think all of them we have something to say, except for the last one, because the last one's just like a life update.
So yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's a lot of the lies, a lot of just BS, added lies onto the miscarriage stuff.
Go figure.
It's constant. They are compulsive liars.
Pathological.
Pathological.
I mean, compulsive,
liars.
pathological, impulsive. Like, it's just all there.
They're just liars. They just lie. It's so easy for them to lie.
I just don't get it either, because it's like, when you actually break everything down and look at it, like take the damn blinders off.
Yeah.
Literally everything is a lie.
When people are like that, they lie and then they start believing their lies, or they just lie because they want to really believe that that's true. Like if they're lying about themselves and say that, oh, I'm like this, they really want to convince themselves that that's true, and they will convince themselves that that's true.
Well, Cam and Fam kind of did something similar, where she was talking about how she would go online and lie to people and put out a perception.
Yeah.
And then that she was a good mom, or like that she had a happy marriage and a happy life, but in all reality, that's not how it was off camera. She said she needed that validation from random strangers in order to feel that way.
And these people, they feed off of that shit.
It's weird, dude.
They love it. They love feeding off of these strangers. They love it when these strangers compliment them. I've said it before, and I will always say it. If you take the good comments, the positive comments to heart, you're also going to take the negative comments to heart too.
It's funny though, because they'll get 1,000 positive comments to one negative, and that one negative will ruin their day. Because
they listen to all of their comments.
Yeah. So anyways, just for a little context and to keep anyone from being confused here before we get into these clips, because again, this is the third part to their first episode. I covered the other parts and I'll link them down below if you want to go watch those before you watch this one or whatever. But this last part is where Keren mentions like the stalker or whatever who made an Instagram on her, just exposing her for having a car or whatever.
The quote stalker.
Yeah, quote stalker. And then she admits that she's like a stalker herself.
Her own Audi one day.
She could literally do anything with that kind of drive.
Exactly.
Like, I wish I had that drive for something. Actually, I do.
Yeah. That's how you have an Audi.
Exactly.
That's not why she has an Audi.
No, Qua's the reason she has an Audi.
Their children are. Qua just edits the video. Keren just lays in bed.
Yeah.
And the kids are the reason why, because the kids are the reason they have any of this money. They didn't have any of this money based from any other thing. Their main sole income is vlogging. And that's how it's always been. And now it's kind of trickling more into like brand deals and sponsorships.
Links.
Yeah, and links and whatever. But originally, vlogging is where all the money came from. I mean, they literally have admitted to only vlogging for 3 years straight. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
What does that tell you?
When she says, I wish I had to drive like that, or whatever she says. And then she says, but I do. No, you don't.
Yeah. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to correct yourself.
Otherwise, Kick-Ass would still be a thing.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. That brand could have been something great, and she ran it into the ground.
She drove it to the ground. Yeah, she's about to say,
she's claiming that this chick drove her, ambition or whatever it is into the ground. No, Keren drives everything into the ground.
Yeah, and again, for context, she's talking about the person who made an Instagram and is spending their time like exposing Keren having the Audi R8. This is before she admitted to having one.
Yeah.
And which is, you know, it's weird and it's whatever, but it's not stalkerish. It's, but I agree, like, why are you wasting your time? But it is really ironic for Keren and Qua to say this stuff.
Yeah, because all she was doing, as far as we know, she wasn't like going to their house or anything like that and trying to look for the car. She was looking at their vlogs and trying to look deeper and trying to look in the background and stuff like that. That's what she was doing. That's not stalkerish. She's just looking at what you've put out. That doesn't count as being a stalker, but Keren is going to admit she's a stalker.
But literally, like, that kind of passion is the kind of passion that you need to have, and she literally has it. but she's driving it into the wrong. She's driving it into the ground.
Kind of like Kick-Ass.
And she has no place to talk.
No.
Karen has no place to talk. They've drove Kick-Ass to the ground. They drove, well, the app was never a thing.
That went to the
Their
ground.
channel is going to the ground.
Yeah, and that's because of neglect.
Mm-hmm.
Because they don't want to do it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before they had their baby, they were only doing it for, like, passive income.
Yeah.
Like, it went from, like, something they apparently were passionate about to passive income. And now that they have their baby, they're posting more. But now it's going to start trickling down to where they're going to start posting less again.
Yeah. The baby stuff isn't working anymore.
No.
But for a bit, they were making that nice little extra bit of money so they didn't have to upload as often.
Mm-hmm.
And that was what the baby was for. Don't tell me they didn't have a baby for views. If they're using it for money, if they're using him for money and using him for clickbait, they had him for views.
Yep.
Not saying they don't love him.
No.
Not saying that at all. Not saying that they didn't want him or anything like that.
But they also love money.
But they also love money, and they are using him for money.
I mean, come on. His middle name is Cash.
Yeah.
What more evidence do
I
you
know.
need?
It's
There's no point
like
to that.
whatever. It could be Brittany's Audi.
Maybe-
Like she could have her own account for herself, my Audi.
Yeah.
One day, you know. But she wants to talk about you and
Is her name
yours.
Brittany?
She
Is
perked
her name
up.
Brittany?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that's not creepy at
crazy.
all. That's not creepy.
I just made up that name.
I could honestly find out.
It's like you take a magazine, right? And you smack it on the dog's nose or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what you have to do with Karen. No.
Yeah, she still won't listen though.
No. You tell her no, she wants to do it even more.
Yeah, again, super, super creepy and super inappropriate. And the fact that you just say with your full chest, oh, I can find out who she is really, really sus.
Yeah, and Kwa, you can tell going on until she's done talking about it pretty much. He was pretty quiet about it, and it was obvious Kwa didn't like it.
No.
Obvious.
Who would?
Nobody. I mean, there are people who like it, because some people's crazy ass minds go to, I can find out information on you.
Yeah, pathetic bullshit.
Okay, no.
It's very easy to
Karen,
find out.
That's
I'm just
as
telling
weird
you.
as her.
I know. I just want that. See, that's the point.
Like, as much as you can find out about us, we can find out about you.
No, it's not just as weird as her, because she's not being weird. She's looking in your videos and watching your videos trying to find the Audi stuff.
She created a public Instagram based around exposing Keren having an Audi R8. Is it a waste of time? Absolutely. Should she be doing it? No. For one, she's not getting paid for it. If she was getting paid, it'd be a different story. But
And
she
she's
wasn't
basing
getting paid
that
for
off
it.
of the public videos.
Yeah, and all of her posts and content that she pushed out based around this stuff was all public and pushed out by their choice by Keren and Kwa. And regardless of how weird or whatever anybody thinks it is, it's still not stalking, and it's still not comparable to what Keren just said.
Yeah, Karen wants to find out private information about somebody.
Yeah.
This chick's looking into the public information that they put out, the public videos that they put out. And Karen wants to look into her private information. You're crazy. People whose minds go to, I can find out about you.
I know, right?
I can find your name, your address, your mom, your dad, all this stuff. That's creepy and that's unnecessary.
Like, we've had me and Taylor should go on a podcast and talk about our issue that one time.
So right here, she's admitting that her and her friend Taylor literally stalked someone.
It's really easy to find out. Like, you're on the internet, everything traces back to somewhere. And that somewhere traces back to your name or your mom's name or whoever's name is on the account. And I can find you.
It blows my mind because, like,
I can find you.
do they not review or look back at this before they post it?
You know, I think Kwa obviously edits it. Karen doesn't edit this. She's too lazy. Sometimes I wonder with Kwa, because sometimes he uploads things and I'm like, Kwa, you edited this. You saw this. You listened to this. And I'm like, why did you think that this was okay to put out? And sometimes I'm like, do you doing it on accident because you're so used to Karen? Or are you doing it on purpose because you want people to see Karen?
She said that with her full chest. She said, your account can link to your family members, your mom, your dad, your sister, your friends, this and that,
Because
and
she
I can
knows.
find you. That means she knows what to do and what to look for to try to find you. And then she's about to go on about how she doesn't have the time to do so, yet she's figured out all the steps in order to stalk someone.
Yep.
Which means what? She's a stalker.
What? The
Karen,
difference
you are
between
weird.
me and you, I don't fucking have the time to do that.
There it is.
Kwa wasn't giving her what she wanted. Kwa wasn't saying like, oh yeah, good job. It's because Kwa was saying, that's weird.
He was uncomfortable, you can tell.
Yes, and that's why she said, the difference is I don't have the time. Karen, you have way too much time on your hands.
Yeah. Again, you know all the steps to stalk someone, so you've
We
done
have
it before.
proof.
And we have proof. Literally have proof. She stalked somebody that left a comment on her Kick-Ass Instagram when Kick-Ass was still a thing until it flopped, saying that Keren was giving out false advertisement for products, and Keren snapped on them. And then there was proof that she found out who this person was, stalked them from platform to platform, contacted their family and their work and this and that. Like, Keren went so far because someone said that she was promoting false advertisement. Yeah. That was it. They didn't do anything to shade their family. They weren't outside their home. They weren't violating any privacies. But guess who was? Keren.
Keren is a hothead, and she's very unhinged.
How many times do you think Keren has to be put in check?
Oh, a lot.
Probably a lot.
Yeah, a lot. To be fair, though, I don't think a lot of people do put her in check. Quad doesn't have the balls to do it. Yeah. He doesn't have the balls to do it.
Yeah.
I do not have the time to do that. And the only time that I did have the time to do that is because it was directly like, I don't take people being near my kids or in the same vicinity of my kids lightly.
So
she
you
just
did have
contradicted herself.
But you did have the time, though.
She heard herself say, like, contradict herself right there, and she had to slow down and be like, oh, you know, and then she had to, like, oh, yeah, my kids were in danger. Yeah.
And like I just said, there's the Kick-Ass example where she stalked somebody just based upon a comment, nothing to do with, like, their kids or safety or privacy or anything. And then there's another time where somebody says she faked a miscarriage, and so she pushed out that person's private Instagram
to her community on her stories.
To her community on her stories, and they went and bullied that girl so bad. And I don't even know if it was a minor or not, probably. And so that person deleted their account based upon all the harassment they were getting from the staying in the light community.
Yep. Somebody must have either told her to knock it off, or she figured out how crazy she was being, because she's like, I went a little hard there, guys. No, you went Keren there, guys.
Yeah, you went Keren mode.
Keren is a Keren.
If you're crazy, then just stop being crazy, man. Just stop.
This comes from somebody who's crazy, who's literally crazy. Like, she just went on and on and on about how she can find out who you are based upon stalking you, stalking your friends, stalking your family, telling you, I will find you. Here's Keren.
Yeah.
And then she's like, well, you know, if you're crazy, just stop being crazy, guys.
Yeah.
Keren, you're the one that's
Maybe
crazy.
Stop being crazy, Keren.
Crazy Keren.
Yeah.
That should be her new nickname, guys.
I think people have called her Crazy Keren.
Probably. Crazy Keren, Crazy Keren, Showcase Keren.
Oh, yeah.
That chick got a lot of nicknames, man. And none of them are positive.
Focus that crazy into something good, and I swear to you, you will have an amazing life.
She should have focused her crazy into Kick-Ass more and stopped focusing on what other people were saying about her.
Yeah, exactly.
Then Kick-Ass wouldn't have fucking... If she focused her crazy, because she's crazy. If she focused that crazy, we're using her mentality right here. If she focused her amount of crazy, because she's crazy, into Kick-Ass and making Kick-Ass better, Kick-Ass would have been amazing.
Yeah, they really had something big with Kick-Ass, and they let it tank.
We had something great.
Yeah. They really, really screwed the pooch on that one.
Yeah, and I do blame Keren. It is Keren's fault. Keren had the platform. Keren was responsible for marketing that brand, and she never did it. She was too lazy, sitting on her ass pretending to have miscarriages and lie about infertility. And
not to mention, complain about not ever like being able to go to the gym. Use the pandemic as the reason for it, while having a whole ass gym and a whole ass warehouse, the Kick-Ass warehouse. She could have had that to herself and gone and worked out
at the warehouse, and then they made the gym in the garage. She had no excuse.
Access. And yeah, she says it was too hot.
But what about the warehouse?
Yeah, I don't know.
There's air conditioning in there.
She just had so many excuses as to why she didn't work out.
She just wanted to get skinny, and then she wanted to be done. That's it. She was already skinny, but she wanted to get even skinnier and be like, oh, look, guys, I worked my ass off, even though I didn't. I just stopped eating Chick-fil-A every day.
She used a post-birth picture for her before and after. Like the one picture, she was literally like in the labor room.
Yeah, she was in the hospital bed. You're in the hospital. You're puffy, you're swollen, everything, you know, all that. And you use that as a before picture for your fitness thing.
It would have made way more sense if she like waited like at least a month after that point.
Even a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It would have been better. But 6 weeks would have been even better. Well, but like, because then you get off all that weight and then you're like, okay, this is where I am. She's such a liar. She's such a liar.
Remember when she photoshopped her butt? They probably grabbed Karena's butt and photoshopped it onto Keren's.
Okay, I think we put out a good message. this podcast. Should
Wait,
we end it
what were
here?
we talking about? Oh, the Porsche. I had a Porsche.
He wanted her to stop talking about that. He
Yeah,
wanted
that's
her
what
to
that
stop
was, yeah.
talking about it so much. He did not like it. You could tell by his tone of voice, everything. He did not want to talk about it.
So this is where we're going to start transitioning into the random topic that I was talking about, like, which also has nothing to do with the $200,000 car. I mean, kind of, but not really. It's kind of like an unnecessary detail that they don't really need to talk about. But I'm glad they did, because it kind of shows how, like, out of reality they are, out of touch they are, how they are not relatable at all.
Yeah.
Because they're literally going to talk about how they bought a $120,000 car and they did it on a whim, on a bet. And people really do think that they're genuine and that they're real and they're relatable.
I know.
Not even close.
Well, it was mainly for me.
Yeah, so what happened is, okay, this is the whole reason me and Kwa made a bet. We were at the airport and we made a bet, and Kwa's like, no, the car's not over here, it's over here. And I was like, no, the car is over here. And he's like, how much do you want to bet? It's like, I bet you a 911 Porsche, because I knew he loves Porsches. Like, he loves Porsches. I won the bet, we drove to Porsche.
Immediately.
Without any thought or anything like that. Just, let's go get a Porsche. Right off the airplane?
I guess so. And it's kind of questionable, because in another podcast they talk about how they never check their bank accounts.
I know. Yeah.
So how did you know you could afford the $120,000 car without knowing what's in your bank account? Because they've literally said this. So how did you know you were able to do that? How are you able to make these bets? Oh, and by the way, this is all in the time of their financial struggles.
But honestly, Porsche isn't my favorite. You know, always whenever we were growing up, if we said, like, if I won the lottery, this is the car I'd buy, mine was Audi R8, and yours was GTR.
So the bet was guessing where they parked in the parking lot or whatever, right? Which, by the way, also not a relatable thing. Oh, I bet you a $120,000 car we parked over there. Like, do they not hear themselves when they're talking?
Yeah, no.
But apparently Keren won the bet. But Karen's dream car isn't a Porsche, but they drove to Porsche to get a car that she didn't even like.
That was for Kwa.
But she was also getting the car for Kwa, but he lost the bet? That doesn't make any sense
And
at
let's
all.
not pretend Keren actually wants to do anything nice for Kwa.
Look what she did with the pool table. That was way cheaper too. But anyway, she changes her mind on the Porsche and gets the Audi R8. So what was the point in even getting the Porsche if you're just going to trade it in? Because apparently it was for Kwa, even though you won the bet. But you're changing your mind on it and returning it?
I don't know. It's such a weird thing to think about. If you really think about it.
Yeah.
So we were there
Vanilla
looking,
turbo.
and Kwa's literally like, oh, this one.
It was
And
red
I wanted to make him
manual.
happy.
Keren never wants to make Kwa happy. She wants to
No.
make Keren happy. Keren gets a rush off of spending money.
Oh, yeah.
She gets a rush off of it, and that might have been what it was.
Well, remember in 2020? Oh, absolutely. But in 2020, there was an article that came out and Keren copied it, and she used it as an excuse for her, like, really bad spending habits. And she said something along the lines of...
it's a coping mechanism
that's
or
like
something?
a coping mechanism
Yeah.
because it's something like within your control.
I do believe that some people do shop and spend money like crazy because it's a coping thing. They're trying to fill a void, and they're trying to, buy the fanciest stuff because it looks the coolest to people who can come to our house and see it,
Well, they have this void.
They love to brag.
Well, they love to brag. They love to showcase, and even though they say they don't, but they do.
Bragging as much to their community. They do that, but they don't do that really, not a crazy amount.
They want to impress the people within their life.
They want to impress the people in their life. That's what they want to do. That's why they have the party house. That's why they have the fancy ass cars. They want to impress people in their lives.
That's why all their goals and aspirations are all based around materialism.
Yep.
I had left, and we had already gotten the money for the white Porsche, and he had the money to pay it in full, had it there, had to go back to the bank, write another check, and pay for the new Porsche, because I just wanted to make you happy.
Oh, okay. So she actually had her eyes on a white Porsche.
Oh, okay. Is that what she's talking about?
That's what she's talking about.
Okay.
And then Kwa had his eyes on the red Porsche, and so he got the money, and so she's like, okay, you can have the red Porsche.
Oh, okay.
But she won the bet, so I don't know.
She doesn't care about making Kwa happy.
No. They had it for like a week. She's like, I didn't like it, but it wasn't for you. You wanted to make Kwa happy. This is
just like the VR system.
Yeah, this is eerily familiar to the VR system, where she wanted to make Kwa happy with the VR system, but it was originally for Jackson because he tied his shoes or something.
We literally had to cash out for the white Carrera. So we had it was I think like 121,000 or 118,000.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
And then so we did all the paperwork, and then so I went back to the dealership to pay for it, and I looked at the red one. I was like, okay, no, we're getting this red. I think you texted me like, if you really want the red one, get the red one. And then so I had to go back to the bank and get out more cash, and then so we bought that.
Oh,
Even more
okay.
unrelatable.
So that's even more unrelatable. I thought it's different. because I totally forgot about like the white Porsche that never happened. So Keren has her eyes on this white Porsche that she won, but changes her mind to get a red Porsche. So Qual had to go back to the bank because he already pulled out the $118,000 for the white Porsche, but had to go back to the bank to get more money for the red Porsche, which is however much money. And then they returned the red Porsche a week later, even though Keren wanted to make Qual happy and Qual loved the car, even calls it his baby, and returns it because she doesn't like it, and then gets an even more expensive car that's a $200,000 car. Bro.
That's a lot of money, man.
So we got the red Porsche. I drove it for a few days and I could just see the pain in Qual's eyes every time I got into it.
Yeah,
it's not a
you drove
normal
like such a casual car.
It's not a normal car.
Okay, neither is an Audi R8 though. It's not like you guys go anywhere anyways. You have to do it for casual outings because you don't go anywhere.
Right?
It's a car you put in your garage and you take to the track and you fucking race it.
Yeah,
like it's a race car.
Race car.
And there was a fucking fire extinguisher under my seat.
My baby.
Like, it was crazy. So I was just like, I woke up every morning with like anxiety about it. I was just like not happy with it.
Later on, she makes the excuses about the Audi, you know, about when they were getting rid of it, how it wasn't like practical for 3 kids or whatever. I'm just like, that wasn't ever a thought in her mind at all. Like, that's how little she thinks about her kids. That wasn't ever a thought in her mind that, oh, this isn't practical for 3 kids. They bought a Porsche that has a fire extinguisher under the seat, and then they bought an Audi R8 that barely has any seats.
Yeah, it's like you didn't know that the Audi R8 wasn't going to be practical when you just bought that Porsche and you return it a week later based upon it not being practical.
Yeah, it was never, you never thought about your kids in it at all. You just wanted to spend money.
And finally one day Qual's like, all right, if you could get any car, don't think about that car. If you could get any car today, what would it be? I said Audi R8, but those are way too expensive.
Wouldn't Qual know this? These people don't know each other. Keren's dream of having an Audi R8 is just, it's a fancy looking car and she saw it was white and shiny.
Saw it in a magazine once.
Yeah, she didn't know anything about it.
Qual should know that that's her car. You shouldn't have to ask her that.
They've been with each other for 10 years at this point.
That was her dream car since high school. They've talked about this before.
Yeah.
But why doesn't he know it now?
He should know.
And you're like,
Audi.
it's the same. Like, I thought they were way more for some reason.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, like $200,000 isn't a lot of money.
I thought they were way more. That's not too bad.
Yeah, I thought they were way more, guys, but I didn't just pull out $120,000 for a white Porsche and then change my mind to take out more money for how much ever more for a red Porsche and then return it a week later to buy a $200,000 car. But thank God it's only $200,000.
Not $300,000.
Yeah, like these people are so unrelatable.
Yeah.
So we traded the red Porsche in for the Audi, and I have never been happier.
Returns it later, like a year later.
So she rarely drives it?
Yeah.
She rarely ever drove it?
Yeah.
Yeah, and now you whip it every day, and I don't care because...
And it's not the fact that I have the Audi that I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's the fact that I reached that goal.
If you go back to them returning it, they say that it just sat in the garage and it didn't go anywhere. They didn't do anything with it. It just sat there collecting dust.
She whips it every day to Starbucks. Okay, we can do that.
Yeah.
But not, like, whips it every day. She doesn't go anywhere.
But here's the thing. They returned it because they admit, and they say it in here, that cars are bad financial investments. And so, sure, she got the Audi R8. But I guess they didn't have the money for it because they had to return it because they were hurting financially by buying the car. In more of their podcasts, Qual literally admits that buying all these cars them over.
As we go on down the line through these podcasts, we'll see, like, when we're here, that they bought this car knowing that they were in financial struggles.
Yeah, literally. And they said they chose to deliberately buy another car after they returned the Audi R8 because Keren wanted another one. And they chose to buy a car that they could not afford instead of paying off debt.
Same thing with the house.
Yeah.
And I did
That's what it's all
something for
about.
myself.
Like, cars aren't good financial investments.
No, they're not. They're stupid as fuck.
But they're good goals.
Yeah.
Like you can have a goal for anything. Like,
You can't say it's a good goal when it you over.
Yeah, exactly. She also said, like, I did something for myself. Karen, you always do shit for yourself.
On top of that, at this time, they have Qual's GTR, another fast, like, race car type, car. They have the Tahoe, which is meant for the family, and now they have this Audi R8 within this time. It's a car that you did not need. You go, oh, well, it was a good goal of ours.
And then we got rid of it.
Then you got rid of it.
That's what I don't understand, is that, like, you just got a goal so you could spend the money on it and then give it up in a year.
Well, even at the time, it's not like you were talking about how you worked up to it and then you just got the Audi R8. Apparently, Qual didn't know your goal. And at the time, you were buying a car on a whim based upon a bet.
Yeah.
So it wasn't even like something that you were like striving to get. You were buying a car on a bet. You know what I mean?
That's a good point, yeah.
one day I want to have a goal of, like I said the other day, buying a Ferris wheel. Why the hell would you ever want a Ferris wheel? But if you work towards that goal and you reach that goal, all the work that you did in the process of it builds character, builds like financial support, stability.
Yeah.
And then you reach that goal and you get it.
It doesn't build character when you have to lie about things to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Or backpack off of other people.
Or your children.
Yeah, they exploited their children. They backpacked off their children to make their fortune. They didn't do anything. They didn't have any success on their own, which is why every avenue they have had outside of YouTube has failed. Which is also why people are losing interest in them. And now they're not being watched as much. But by the way, if you're watching this, a Ferris wheel for an example of a goal is stupid. The only ones that should be buying a Ferris wheel are people who are trying to start a circus or like some sort of like amusement park.
Yeah.
To what? To profit and make money. You're not going to be able to throw a Ferris wheel into your backyard. That's probably illegal. But Qua and his felon mentality,
they just end up getting rid of it anyways.
Yeah, they would attend a Ferris wheel and just getting rid of it. It's a waste of money. It's a waste of electricity. You're just spending money at that point.
And that whole build character bullshit. Shut up. No.
Yeah. We've seen your character off of what you've built, and it's garbage.
It hasn't worked very well because your character is still trash. Like, ugh.
Exactly.
Like, a Ferris wheel isn't a good financial investment, but, you can do it if you want.
No, don't do it. That's stupid.
You can do it if you want, but that whole build character shit is bullshit. It's stupid. It's not even an investment unless you're, like you said, unless you're making like a fair or circus or whatever.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if your goal is to obtain a Ferris wheel, you're not going to want to throw it in your backyard because where does that goal go? It doesn't go anywhere. You're not making money. It's just a waste of space and a waste of time. But if your goal is to obtain that Ferris wheel for, like I said, a fair or whatever, then
that's an investment.
That's an investment and you're making money, and that will build your character. Not wanting something that's just going to sit in a garage or sit in your backyard collecting dust. That makes no sense at all. It is a waste of money. But hey, this is coming from people who do nothing but waste their money.
And have to give everything back.
It's like the Audi R8. It's not a good financial investment, but it's a goal that you reach.
And again, that goal f***ed you over.
Yeah.
Like hardcore.
Yeah.
And you had to return it.
Yeah.
So what's the point in even getting your so-called goal? What was the point in getting the Audi R8 if all you were going to do was return it later?
I think later on they say something about how like the whole point is that they got their goal. Basically, it doesn't matter that they got rid of it. No, it does matter that you got rid of it because what was the point of the goal?
Oh, it was in the vlog.
Just because you wanted to spend money. Was it in the vlog?
Yeah, it was in the vlog. Keren was saying that like it was a good goal and I'm glad I got it, but I don't think I like this car anymore.
Yeah. So it wasn't your goal.
Yeah. So the Audi R8 was Keren's goal since high school. Apparently, Qual didn't know, but apparently that was her goal, right? And then she ends up returning it later down the road based upon financial issues, but also based upon the fact that Keren said that she didn't like it anymore. She says that she doesn't think it's her dream car anymore.
She said also it wasn't what she thought it was going to be.
That's what I'm saying. So how the hell is it a goal reached if that's what you say?
Yeah.
Seems like all you did was achieve nothing and wasted time and money.
Yeah.
And then so along the way you made connections, you made income, and then everything else was a byproduct of positivity.
Yes, exactly.
Tell me how financial debt, extreme financial debt, is a byproduct of positivity.
Oh, it's not.
It's not, bro. It's not at all.
They said that they struggled because of it.
Yeah, apparently.
I don't think they struggled. I think that they were lacking money. They didn't make nearly the same amount of money they did make before, and I think they got got cocky and thought that, hey, it doesn't matter. We can upload a few times a week and we'll still make the same amount of money. No.
Nope.
They really did.
They really screwed the pooch, and now people have seen them for what they are. And even if they did come back uploading every day, sure, they might have a couple more regular viewers, but it wouldn't save them. The babies can't save them.
No.
Look
at the views now.
Fake miscarriages can't save them. The infertility didn't save them. Clickbaiting leaving YouTube didn't save them. Their gooses are cooked,
they're
man.
gonna start clickbaiting pregnancy again though soon.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Karen, I feel like we're finally getting along again.
Oh yeah, we had an issue in the beginning.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, that's the one right there.
There it is.
Where we talk about how they fight a lot. Yeah, there it is.
I feel like we're finally getting along again. Qua, that is very sad to say about you and your wife.
Keep in mind that this is the very first episode, and they couldn't even sit down and have a 40-minute conversation without arguing.
It's because they're never in the same room with each other.
Because they can't
And if
stand
they
each
are,
other.
they're doing separate things, you know?
That's basically it for today's BAYTS episode. Make sure to go follow us on Instagram if you don't know who we are.
Everybody knows who you
Yeah.
are that's listening, Karen.
I love it when YouTubers say stuff like this, specifically Keren and Kwa, because they like to act like that anybody outside of their community is watching them. The only people watching this podcast are Keren and Kwa fans, and that's it.
Yep.
Oh, and me, but I'm here making money.
Well, no, we're not doing this daily. Holy crap, our lives would stop.
Apparently, sitting down for 40 minutes to make a podcast, it means every day, even if they did it every day, their lives would stop. But vlogging is such hard work. You know, they were vlogging every day for 3 years straight, but they could do that. They could record for an hour and then edit for, 2 to 3 hours, and that is doable every day, but not sitting down talking and not having to edit anything for a podcast. Their lives would stop.
It's because they would argue too much and then get a divorce.
Oh God, imagine Keren
That's-
having to work on her own.
That's why the lack of the podcast, because Keren couldn't sit down and talk to him.
Well, I guarantee you, Kwa won't ever leave Keren, because if that was the case, she would try to take him for everything.
They'll never get a divorce.
No.
They will never get a divorce. Nobody will want Keren. Nobody will want Kwa either. But they are perfect for each other because Kwa does everything for Keren, and Keren makes Kwa do everything for Keren.
See you
In our next episode.
See you next. Is it weekly? Are we gonna do weekly?
I think weekly.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Is it weekly? Are we gonna do it weekly? That's how podcasts should work. That if you want to make it work, that's how it should work.
Yeah, and I think in the beginning they had a few consistent episodes, and then like all of a sudden they would take like a 3 to 6 month hiatus and then come back with one or two random ones and then do the same thing. Just they are not consistent, and
Nor are they
again,
interesting.
all in the podcast, it's all there to hear is that Kwa says that Keren never wants to sit down and do it.
Well, in the later podcast, we hear that. And I also think that, this podcast, it was meant to be something else. It wasn't meant to be all this. This
Yeah.
was just, they thought people would love to listen to all this stuff, and it was just crap.
No, exactly. I mean, that's why it's turned from all this cringe to just life updates.
Well, also the name just doesn't fit any of their topics.
I know. Be a YouTuber, they said. They're acting as if being a YouTuber is bad.
Yeah.
Because being a YouTuber had apparently changed their lives and made them rich. They had that whole thing of being poor, and YouTube changed that for them. So be a YouTuber, they said. Man, it's a little off-putting. It doesn't make any sense. Anyways, all you jealous haters, that's about it. Well, let us know what you guys think down below. We'll cover another episode soon. I don't know when, but we'll try to get that out, and we'll check you guys on the next one. Bye.